Good morning. We're at Simonis Elizabeth station. Two different stations, but same location. Long story. We're here finally to finish the trilogy. We're in the biggest city of the Benelux, visiting the busiest metro system in the Benelux. Welcome to Secrets of the Brussels Metro. Firstly, let's talk a bit about the system itself. The first metro line opened as a pre-metro in 1969 between De Broekère and Schuman, with the first actual metro line opening in 1976 between De Broekère and Beaulieu and Tomberg. We'll talk later about the pre-metro, but for now you have to understand that a lot of metro lines are upgraded pre-metro lines. Currently, the system serves 133 million passengers per year, making it the busiest metro system in the Benelux, while only having 40 kilometers of track, which makes it actually the shortest metro system in the Benelux, as the Amsterdam Metro has 42.7 kilometers of track and the Rotterdam Metro has 103.1 kilometers. But if we include pre-metro tracks, the Brussels Metro has 55.7 kilometers of track, surpassing Amsterdam. Currently the system has 59 stations, or 60 depending how you count Simonis and Elizabeth stations, has 4 metro lines and consists of 2 primary sections, the straight lines going from east to west and the gay lines. Get it? As they aren't straight? I'm gonna get cancelled for that joke, right? The reason Simonis has 2 station names is so people won't get confused. Previously, the station had one name, Simonis. But to improve clarity, the upper platforms were then named Simonis Leopold II and the lower platform Simonis Elizabeth. This actually didn't improve clarity at all, and so the transport system STIB MIVB, from now on called STIB, decided to make them have 2 separate names, which finally improved clarity. At Simonis you can also check out the history of the trams in the Simonis area, including a picture of how the underground tram station looked like before. Apparently they even had chocolate trams. Yum. But something way more interesting are these departure screens. Yes, this is the typical Brussels Metro information board, which you can find at every metro station, displaying when the next departure is. Uniquely, you can also see where every metro is currently, which acts kinda like a loading bar, which makes waiting for your metro way more interesting. I think I'm jealous. I want these departure screens so badly. Before finally moving on, one final thing about these boards. If you look closely, you might see some gaps between stations. Most of these gaps are for planned stations, but this one was meant to be an actual station. If you look out of the window, you might spot the old foundation of the station. The station was called Saint Clenet, and it actually was ready to open, but last minute the STIB realized it was way too close to the previous and next stations, so it was never opened. Moving on, we arrive at one of the big 3 stations in Brussels to talk about something fun. We're here at the Noordstation. We're going to talk a bit about languages. Yes, sit tight, because Brussels is a hellscape for languages. You might know that Dutch is spoken in Flanders and French in Wallonia. And Brussels should be a neutral zone. Duh, of course it is. So, to not discriminate one language by presenting the announcements in a different language, they decided to mix the order up at every station. So here at Noordstation, the announcements are firstly in Dutch, then French. At Gare du Midi, it's first French, then Dutch. But the worst of them all is in Brussels. At Gare Centrale, it's completely thrown in the garbage. Oh God. At Centraal Station, it depends on the year. If the year is an even number, it is Dutch first, then French. But if it's an odd number, then it's French first and then Dutch. But it gets even worse because we haven't talked about the metro yet.
I hate Gardery so fucking much.
Yes, as also every STIB station switches order in languages, in announcements and station names. You can see on official maps that when a station has 2 names, one Dutch and one French, the order they get displayed changes at every station. When the station code ID is an even number, it's first French then Dutch, and if the ID is odd, it's Dutch then French. Alright, enough about languages, let's talk about music and another abandoned station at our next stop. And here at Louisa Station we've come outside. You might recognize the square as it's from the video clip Formidable by Stromae. But maybe you didn't. But so fun fact, but something else here at Louisa. There are, underneath the current metro platforms, a set of abandoned platforms. Like, it's literally the same situation as Waterloopplein in Amsterdam. There was a planned metro line 4 in this case, and when this station was upgraded from a pre-metro to a metro station, they built the platforms underneath the current metro platforms, if Metro Line 4 will ever be built. Spoiler alert, it was never built, so these platforms are now sitting abandoned. Very interesting, but wait, did you notice something? Let's go back a bit. Pre-metro. Yes, it's finally time to talk about the pre-metro. So simply said, the pre-metro is a series of tram lines which run normally above ground, but also go underground in tunnels for trams. While Brussels is no stranger to putting trams underground, pre-metro tunnels are special as they are able to be upgraded later to full-length metro trains. This is why the platforms of underground pre-metro stations are so long and high, as they are meant for big metro trains. Currently these sections of the metro have been upgraded from pre-metro tunnels, and this one is currently being upgraded into Metro Line 3. You can see the construction of a new underground station called Constitution, and when taking the pre-metro tram from Annesens towards Zuidstation, you can see the construction of the connecting tunnels to Constitution. Going back to the metro, we go to Delacroix. Here there's a passageway going between the metro tracks, which can lead to some cool shots of metros passing by. You also have a cool view over the Brussels Canal here, which explains the reason for this passageway. And bonus fun fact, it's one of the only stations that doesn't have ticket gates. I do not know any others, so do let me know which other stations do not have ticket gates. Alright, moving on. Leaving Delacroix, you might have noticed we are currently running on the wrong side. The metros in Brussels normally run on the right, but on this section between Clemenceau and Koning Boudewijn, the 2 and 6 run on the left. The reason why can be explained at our next stop. Here at Bekant, which is really busy train station with all the lines going here. But as you notice, the gay lines are running on the left, but the straight line on the right, on the correct side. So what the fuck is going on? Well, it's really weird, let me explain. So before 2009, you didn't have a complete ring. Instead, a metro running from Elisabeth to Zuidstation. And the line to Koning Boudewijn was run by metros coming from De Broekère. But as there's no direct connections, metros had to reserve at Bekant. When a metro from De Broekère arrived at Bekant, it arrived running on the right, but when reversing, they were suddenly on the left side. And instead of changing direction further on the line or reversing on the left side of the station, they made the line to Koning Boudewijn left running completely. And this never changed even after completing the metro ring in 2009. So moving up north, running on the left, we arrive at Heysel station. This is the station for the Atomium Brussels Expo and is actually closest to the Koning Boudewijn Stadium instead of Koning Boudewijn metro station itself. For this reason, it's the only non-terminus station served by a singular metro line which has more than 2 platforms. Moving back south, we make a stop at Stuyvenbergh, which has some interesting sculptures. The station is close to Stuyvenbergh Castle, which was the last residence of Queen Elizabeth of Belgium. And to depict her reign, 25 statues have erected in this station, depicting her entire life story from birth to death, which is really interesting. Going back to the city center, look out for the interesting fact that when a train arrives at Gare Centrale and de Beaucaire, the platform illuminates. Arriving at our next station, where we will answer a very important question. Alright, we are at park, and I really need to know, is there a park here? Let's find out. So a quick time lapse of me leaving the station. Takes quite a while to leave the station actually. And there is no way. Great, I can confirm there is a park at Park Station. Now I'm happy. Alright, let's move on. By the way, did you know that the Wallonian Parliament is here at Park Station? The more you know, eh? Moving to our next station with some very interesting platform art. The artwork created by Benoit van Inis depicts 8 portraits and the station name as if drawn with a marker. Sadly, almost 10 years ago a tragedy occurred on a metro train leaving the station for the city center. It was an act of terror that claimed the lives of 20 people that day. In response, Inis unveiled this new artwork to honor the memory of the victims. In the same art style, it depicts an olive tree, which resembles peace, resilience and love. And written next to it is a poem written in Dutch and French, written by Spanish poet Federico Garcia Lorca, titled Paisaje, or Landscape in English. Currently on screen you see the translated version. The meaning of the poem is a direct link to what happened that day, with a scorched plane resonating the context of the attack, acknowledging the nature of the event as there was a lot of fire and destruction, and the lonely olive tree representing the victims and survivors, acknowledging the loneliness of grief, but by placing it on a public wall, it turns that individual loneliness into a shared collective memory. I highly recommend checking out this artwork if you live nearby and haven't seen it yet. Alright, let's light up the mood by visiting a masterpiece of architecture and engineering. Welcome to Schuman Station. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite metro stations in the world. Like, what the fuck? So, what this is the new tunnel that directly links the European quarter, so Brussels, Luxembourg, and Brussels, Schuman, with the airports. But as you can see, there wasn't a lot of room to actually create this tunnel, so they created this fucking design that literally have trains go right through this metro station. And the metro station used to be a very boring, dull metro station, just like any ordinary Brussels metro station. But now, because of this tunnel, this station was also upgraded, and now it's become this masterpiece of engineering. Oh wow! Absolutely beautiful. Alright, moving on. Moving on, we go to Montgomery. Above ground, the boulevard really reminds me of the Champs-Élysées in Paris, with the big Cinque Terre arch in the background. Minus the statue of Marshal Montgomery, that's missing in Paris. You do have old BCC trams running next to the boulevard, which the Champs-Élysées also doesn't have. Montgomery station is a big hub between metro, bus and pre-metro. You also have an underground terminating loop for ordinary trams. And if we go to Rue du Duc, Hertogstraat, you'll find this really interesting tunnel portal for the tram for Montgomery station. And interestingly, it's in the middle of a rather quiet neighborhood. You have a boulevard over there, but if there aren't any cars passing, it's pretty quiet, interesting. But then suddenly, bam, tram portal, And it really looks like there used to be a street going across the portal, which got removed because of the portal. And most funny, in front of the portal entrance, you have so many signs telling you do not enter under any fucking circumstance. So yeah, worth a watch to see trams enter the portal. Moving south, we have arrived at probably the funniest metro station on the network. This is Delta Station. And Delta is really interesting for two reasons. Number one, it shouldn't even exist because it is so close to Hankar Station. It's just like 20 seconds. I'm not kidding when I say Hankar Station is really close to Delta Station. At the end of this sentence, I have already arrived at Delta Station. But it was built because of the maintenance depot right nearby, which is also named Delta. And so now the question is, why is this metro station depot called Delta? That's because of the maintenance depot. I thought it would look a bit nicer here. But the maintenance depot is called Delta. So why was the name Delta chosen? There's a street called Delta, right? Delta Straat Rue de la Delta. No? The neighborhood is called Delta. No way. There's a station right next to the metro also called Delta. That's the reason why. What? Those are the three primary ways you'd name a metro station. So, why did they name it Delta? Believe it or not, it's because if you look from above, the maintenance depot looks like the Greek letter delta. Yes, I'm not kidding. That's the reason. The reason is because the fucking depot looks like a delta. And now this entire area is known as Delta because of this fucking reason. Oh my god, that's so stupid. I'm done. Move on. Let's move on. So I have shown you a lot of artwork in this video, and the Brussels Metro is full of interesting and unique artworks across all of its metro stations. So if you really like art, go buy a day pass and explore what the metro has to offer. But I do want to show you one more artwork, here at Van der Velde. This beautiful mural depicts a landscape of the area around the station if this area didn't exist, attempting to draw attention to the influence of the advancing city on nature. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end as we arrive at our final station of Stockholm. On the walls of the station, you might recognize these cartoon figures as they all appear in the cartoon series The Adventures of Tintin. The reason why you find them here is that the creator of the series, Hergé, is local to the station. And I'm now in front of the tram station, more importantly, right at the Stockholm Square, the most important square in Brussels, mark my words. Anyway, unfortunately this is where we'll end the video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And let me know if I missed any important facts that you wanted to see in a video. Leave them down in the comments down below. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!